Protection of buildings, sites, structures, areas, and districts of historic significance and interest through the preservation and enhancement of local historic, architectural, archaeological, and aesthetic heritage found in the city, through the maintenance of the distinctive character of the city's historic districts, and through the promotion and enhancement of the city's historic and aesthetic attraction to tourists and visitors. We'd just like to say to everybody this afternoon, when you begin to speak, please speak directly into the microphone because we're recording our session and we want to pick up every word. I'd just like to take this opportunity to invite the other commissioners to introduce themselves, and tonight we'll start from my left and the audience right.
Keelan Adams.
Carol King.
James Long.
And I'm Richard Bailey, and it is my honor to serve as the chair of the Historic Preservation Commission. Since we do not have a quorum here tonight, we will just go down the agenda and we'll ask our own from the Land Use Division, Mr. Shaun Rhodes, if he'll come before us and give us a spotlight on Capitol Heights.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey. So just want to go through this neighborhood spotlight on Capitol Heights. And if you all can just scroll down a bit, we'll have some photos here. This is a historic plat map that was from the early 20th century when the neighborhood was first developed. So the land now known as Capitol Heights was originally sold by the United States via land patent to Stephen and Samuel Duncan in 1826 before becoming the 200-acre Vickers cotton plantation. Next in 1904, which is the plat map that we see here, it was purchased by Philadelphian Henry Davis and Colonel J.S. Pinkard, who established the Capitol Heights Development Company. Soon thereafter, Capitol Heights, which operated as a self-contained town from 1908 until its annexation by the city of Montgomery in 1927, built electric streetcar routes between downtown Montgomery to the west and Electric Park to the east. Electric Park is in the area currently known as Forest Hills. In 1909, the neighborhood was advertised as the choice residential suburb of Montgomery. You can see a snapshot of the newspaper cut out here for the advertising. And this was because it was advertised this way because it was 200 feet above the city. The area had perfect natural drainage and broad streets, as well as paved sidewalks and the double-track streetcar lines that I mentioned a moment ago, providing transportation. So as the neighborhood continued to grow into the 1920s, boasting a population of about 12,000, Lee Place was developed north of Madison Avenue. A pair of limestone lion statues mark the entrance to this area at Madison Avenue and North Madison Terrace. So those statues are still there. Because of the neighborhood's early 20th century development history and the variety of architectural styles, which include Craftsman, Tudor, Gothic Revival, and Colonial Revival built in the neighborhood, 4 sections of Capitol Heights have been designated as it was done in a phased process as time and resources permitted. In the 1990s is when the designations took place. Neighborhood sidewalks feature hexagonal concrete pavers supplied and constructed by home builder A.O. Clapp. Also, it should be noted that South Capitol Parkway was designed to mirror the plan of Green Street in Augusta, Georgia. I just want to note that's my hometown. With 108 inches in width and park and green space in the center median there. First South Capitol Parkway from Madison Avenue so this is the designation information. First South Capitol Parkway was designated in February 19th, 1991. Next, Madison Avenue from Hopper Street to Pennsylvania Street was designated November 2nd of 93. Then St. Charles Avenue from Hopper Street to Federal Drive was designated in July of 1996. And lastly, Winona Avenue from Pennsylvania Street to Panama Street was designated in December of 2003. There are several community spaces of note in Capitol Heights. I have some photos here of the churches that I'll call out. Capitol Heights Elementary School, as well as on Winona Avenue, and that was designed by architect Frank Gallagher and opened in 1917 with funding by the city of Capitol Heights as tax base. The Pinkert House, also known as Rock Haven, that we can see here in a postcard, was designed by prominent architect Frank Lockwood at the northwest corner of Madison Avenue and North California Street. This residence was built in 1907, and then it was demolished in 1966. We see the fire here that was caused by, the house was struck by lightning, and this location, this site, is now the site of Louis Armstrong Memorial Park, which we can see the photos here. And it's kind of interesting, the original steps onto the lot, the sidewalk, are still present, and you can see those at the entrance to the park. So I mentioned churches. We have several in Capitol Heights. This includes Capitol Heights Baptist Church, St. Bede the Venerable Catholic Church on Madison Avenue, and Capitol Heights Methodist Church on Winona Avenue. And Capitol Heights maintains its early 20th century character as a working class neighborhood with many of the original families, including several Greek immigrants still living there, and much of the original architectural detail still extant in the neighborhood. The craftsman style of the Green brothers in Southern California heavily influenced the Capitol Heights Development Company, which nonetheless altered the style a little bit to suit the climate and construction materials available in Alabama. A variety of materials were used, but most homes exhibit wood siding with brick piers and porch supports. Character-defining features of the craftsman style, such as low-pitched, gabled roofs, flanked by ornamented exposed rafters and porches with brick and wood support columns, are prevalent on homes in Capitol Heights, as we can see again here in the photos. Some residences are accented with decorative beams with stucco and multiple roof planes. Many residents today moving in alongside the original families are first-time home buyers who are renovating and enjoying Capitol Heights and its preserved historic character. So today, Capitol Heights is a desirable neighborhood that is undergoing a resurgence. The Capitol Heights Civic Association is the primary party, along with the neighborhood's residents that are spurring revitalization efforts. The Land Use Division is interested in partnering with the CHCA soon to continue architectural survey work that began in 2012, covering the whole neighborhood, to potentially designate the rest of it as a single contiguous historic resource, or historic district rather. We look forward to collaborating toward the neighborhood's ongoing resurgence by potentially designating its full extent as historic, thereby stabilizing properties and facilitating community pride. So that's all I have. I just want to credit Landmarks Foundation for some of its source materials online, as well as the CHCA, and then also the historic marker at Armstrong Park, and the local designation reports were also helpful in gathering these details for the area.
Okay, anybody has a question or a comment?
Yes, can we go back to page 2, the chart there that has, can you roll that back? That's right at the beginning where you have that, the district. I'm trying to, where you have the color-coded lots. Now, which one was the original one? And which, I think you're saying that this represents different points in time that it was added to the district. So which one was first?
Yeah, that's right. The bottom left-ish is South Capitol Parkway.
That's the light, the lightest color?
So that was the first designation that took place. And
91.
Well, go ahead, Carol.
91.
And then the next one, what, light purple or whatever it is?
That's right, going north. So Madison Avenue on both sides was the next one there.
And the last one, the green, was when?
So that is St. Charles. Let's see, that one was in July '96. And then it's the same color, but up toward the top right on Winona Avenue. That was a separate designation, just that one block.
So when I was looking at it, I said, well, why didn't it extend? What was the issue with, because I actually thought it was larger, that it had actually more streets in it. What was the issue about?
Yeah, just from what I've kind of read in old files and everything, it seemed like it was just like a funding kind of a concern, or just also like, you know, manpower and time. So that's what I had read. You know, I wasn't around at that time, but that's what I've sort of gathered, is that you know, it was done piecemeal based on what was available, you know, at the time. And there was also an owner consent requirement at that time, so that may have played a factor as well in that.
Yeah, I did the survey work on the Parkway and some of Madison back in the 90s, and you had to have 75% of the property owners to sign okay.
Wow.
And that's really hard.
Yeah, okay.
And we did do a fairly good survey by current standards on the Parkway, which it may have disappeared at this point. But and then the signature became the most prominent thing in the other designations, and so it was just really hard to get 75% as the neighborhood transitioned into non-owner occupied too. So
Yeah.
I think it's been at least 25 years since the last one was designated.
Yeah, because there are a lot of houses that look just the same as the ones
Right.
in the district in that area, but it's not part of the district.
Right, and I've met with folks from the Capitol Heights Civic Association, and you know, they kind of told me that it has actually created some confusion. You know, some people don't actually know whether they are part of the historic district or not. And based on what I've also found is that I have a bunch of photographs from 2012 that, you know, seem to cover other areas in the neighborhood. And so similar to South Hull, where we had prior survey data, you know, we'll need to kind of update that. 2012 was, you know, over 10 years ago, so we'll need to update all of that. But you know, that's part of my plan is to use those prior photographs and go ahead and take new photos, fill out the site forms, and go through a designation process for the rest of the neighborhood.
Finally, did we ever make a decision about putting your description and all these pictures online? Did we ever discuss that?
I think it may have come up at the beginning of the year, and like currently we haven't done that, but I've got all my notes and everything from it, so we can certainly add that information. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a pretty good idea. We can try to do that.
I think so
to
too.
preserve it.
Yes, because the information that you've delivered this afternoon is more than first class. And for people who don't know the history of some of our neighborhoods, and that includes Capitol Heights, I mean, I think those persons, if they were listening to you this afternoon, they would have to admit they were enlightened. Excuse me. This is the kind of information we need, and it gets back to something I'd love to talk about, community pride. And once, I believe, we know more about our communities, we'll have greater pride in our communities. For example, clean streets, if you get my drift. If we knew the history of our communities, something else would happen that would be good I don't want to talk about. But it is so wonderful to hear the story that you've told about Capitol Heights. Let someone else talk. Anyone else? Comments?
I was just going to draw attention to over on the section 42 and 43 up in the upper right hand, you'll see McCarter, and then you'll see Japan Avenue. And that got changed in 1941 to Glendale.
And I can understand that.
Yep.
And one of the things I think that some visitors would find fascinating when they drive through Capitol Heights is the fact that many of the streets are named for some of our states. Pennsylvania, California, Maryland, on down the line. I think that's really fascinating. Any other comments? Okay, thank you so much. As we continue with our agenda this afternoon, let's look at our glossary here and see what we can make of it. Anybody has any comments? Is there any term on here that we need to kick around a little bit? Let's start with alphabet A. Just make sure we don't go to Z first. Is there any term on here that needs to be reworded or that you don't quite understand? All right. Let's just take the whole glossary. For Appendix A, is there any architectural term that you think if a person would read it, that person would not quite understand the meaning? Any term? Okay. Yes.
I just found it hard to get the terms in relationship out of context, that's all.
Yeah.
I couldn't. That's just the way glossaries work. You don't necessarily have the context in which it's used. Mm-hmm. But it was all right to me.
Right, it's really good, and I believe I can say persons in construction, they know these terms.
Yeah.
They live by these terms. Home builders, another form of construction, they live by these terms. Let's hear from some of the other members of the commission here. What is it on this list that you just want to talk about, even if you don't have a question?
Well, I just think it's very well done.
I do too.
I mean, can't imagine you've missed a term.
And the thing I found fascinating, some of the words on here, words that I've heard all my life, but I never saw anywhere a definition of that particular term until today. And I found that really fascinating.
Yeah.
It'd be great if realtors use this to describe their property.
Yes, yes. Anyone else? Anyone? Staff updates, Shaun, any staff updates?
Yeah, so we do have a new member here, Ella Martin. If you want to take a moment and just introduce yourself, yeah, that would be one update.
Well, I'll stand up a minute. I know a few of the people on the committee.
Ma'am, you don't have to stand. I don't want you to feel like you have to stand. You really don't have to stand.
I do. Well, no, I don't. I've only gotten through the E's right now. So,
yes.
But it's actually a lot of things that I do recognize, which is very surprising to me because I'm not a preservation specialist or into the documents. So I am learning as I go. Carol is one of my big teachers, so, and she's grimacing now because she knows it's very difficult to teach me anything. So I am going through this, and I did print it out this afternoon, Shaun, after I talked to you. And
there's more. There's
yeah.
more before this.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to work a mouse over here too, which is kind of hard for me. But anyway, I'm looking forward to learning while on this committee. Dr. Bailey, I know, can help me also with that. And it's a pleasure to actually be a part of this group in the learning process.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, and welcome to the team.
Thank you, Dr. Bailey.
Thank you very much. And always feel that you can say what's on your mind here because we're here to make Montgomery look better.
Good, so I won't show my stupidity. I can show my stupidity at times. So, yeah.
You're not stupid.
I love learning.
As a good teacher once said, the only stupid question is a question that
You don't ask.
you don't ask.
You told me that.
Right. and that's what we want to say is the spirit of this body, that people feel comfortable asking questions that someone else might consider stupid. But the point of the matter is, if you look at the fact that at one time in our history, people were fearful of elevators.
I can see that.
But nobody thinks in terms of any danger of getting on an escalator or an elevator today, if you get my drift.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
So feel real comfortable, ma'am, when you come in those doors for this Historic Preservation Commission meeting.
I certainly will.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, and just, so welcome to the board, Ella. We'll be sending you a member packet as well, gathering that today and tomorrow. And just to let you all know, I'm also still working on the other vacancies, getting those filled as well. So that's a work in progress. And then Dr. Bailey, I did speak with the gentleman from Opelika, I believe.
Yes.
I'm forgetting his name right now, but I did invite him to next month's meeting. He agreed to do that, so I will follow up and get him down here as well for next month.
Yes.
And lastly, so I'm working on as well the plaque applications for the fall, and we do need a signed committee, so at least 3 members on the board to form that committee. So I'll be sending you the designation reports for this season's plaque applications.
Thank you very much. Anyone has some parting comments? Anybody has anything going on? Yes.
Well, I guess we're gonna wait on approval of the minutes to allow a new member time to get her acclimated, or we're gonna do them tonight.
Well, let's give her an opportunity to
Yeah.
become acclimated. We don't want to rush her because she might not come back. And we don't want to frighten anybody off. Okay, sure. Right. And we have. You mean announce it? You mean announce it?
If you want to.
We just like to say to our other commissioners, we have a letter here. I haven't read it yet, but it's regarding the passing of one of our other commissioners, Mr. Rob Hesse, and we are asking all of the commissioners to sign that letter. And what we will do for our new member, we'll just draw a line for you to sign before we leave here this afternoon. And just let me say about Rob Hesse, he's one person whom I feel was born to serve on a historic preservation commission. When he came here, he let me know how comfortable he was in being a member of this organization, and as far as I can remember, he did not miss a single meeting until his health began to decline. So we want to acknowledge the passing of one of our own, Mr. Rob Hesse, who was about as faithful as anybody could possibly get. So we're going to miss him. And we want to, as I said before, ask all of our other commissioners to sign this letter. Does anybody else has anything you want to say about Rob Hesse before we close? Okay. Is that being said, just like to say to Mr. Warren Adams, Mr. Shaun Rose, thank you so much for coming out tonight. For our other commissioners, please accept our appreciation for your coming out tonight. For our videographer and for our security staff, thanks so much for coming out tonight. This meeting hereby adjourned.